We are still basking in the glow of a huge blowout victory over UAB. Florida Atlantic Voice presented by Robes Law Group, ROBES, robeslawgroup.com. Personal injury lawyers, they are the presenting partner of the Florida Atlantic Voice. I am Ken. That is Damon. FAU football is 3-3. FAU football is, with all the hand-wringing after the loss to Memphis, above 500 in American Conference play at 2-1. You know me, Damon. I'm not necessarily the most even keel of people, right? You've seen me during basketball season. FAU's down 5 with like 6 minutes to go. I don't feel great about the proceedings, but I like to think that I was keeping a level enough head after the loss to Memphis, where FAU was down 5 with 9 minutes to go, that I had a feeling this would be coming. But what did we say? These two games, at Rice and home against UAB, this was going to be the season right here. Whether or not they went to a bowl game was going to be determined by these two games. They still might not, but they've put themselves in a great position now.
Oh, without a doubt. They came out and performed very well. And I'm sure as you were sitting up there in the booth, you were just kind of, not because you were rooting in a bad way, but just like, okay, wheels, please don't fall off of this.
Right.
Wheels, please don't.
Keep on rolling.
Turning.
That's right. Exactly. That's right. So it was family weekend, by the way, in Boca. I went by the tailgate.
It was amazing, wasn't it?
It was sloppy. It was weird. So I did see some parents pretty banged up. Banged up, like stumbling around. Oh, banged up, like they were going to have a rough Sunday morning. Like maybe they probably embarrassed their kids at some point during the course of the late evening or the nighttime. I'm already getting some acknowledgement from our FAU fans here at Beer Garden and Boca Raton. They saw the same thing with their own two eyes that I saw. So
what you're saying is they had a good time? Yeah,
for sure. But they're trying to relive former glory. Oh. And that rarely ever goes well. And I was seeing when my girls, they're 9 and 7 right now, when they go to college, I have a bad feeling that that's what yours truly is going to attempt.
Well, I must tell you, I wasn't able to go to the game because I went to see my daughter play volleyball. And just speaking of parents embarrassing their child in school, that was on my mind because we went to dinner. My daughter went to dinner. I thought it was just going to be her and I. And then she brought her friends, her teammates. And so now we're about 3 to 5 of her teammates there, and I'm just really feeling the pressure. Like I have to perform now.
You got to be on.
Yeah, I'm like I got to perform now. And then she pulled me aside and said, "Dad, you don't.
Don't. Time to be in the background, man."
So like a turtle, I went back in my shell and
you turtled up.
The bull.
Yep. By the way, the chat is open for those of you that are watching this live. The chat is open. So go ahead, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on X, pass it along. But the chat is open. Give us your reactions. Give us your thoughts on the game coming up Saturday night at USF. And we want to hear what you have to say. So, again, the chat is open. We are, as always, at Beer Garden and Boca Raton, Monday Night Live, Beer Garden and Boca Raton. He's Damon Arnett. I'm Ken LaVicka, and we thank them for having us. $3 brats. First beer on me. As always, that's the Ken LaVicka guarantee. First drink on me at Beer Garden and Boca Raton, and I already see one of those gigantic pretzels
what is that?
That are bigger than your head, Damon Arnett, both physically, both literally. Metaphorically, no. Literally, yes, here at Beer Garden and Boca Raton. All right, so we're going to go through, yes, the USF preview. I do want to touch on some FAU basketball because John Jacobs and a couple of members of the Kanan Carlisle, Nico Moretti were off at Conference Media Day today in Birmingham. I'm okay with Birmingham, but I try not to spend more time than I have to there in Birmingham.
Well, we already talked about it's a good place to eat food, though, no?
It is, barbecue-wise, for sure. Birmingham, by the way, the site of this year's American Conference basketball tournament. So UAB gets a home tournament out there. But FAU's never beaten UAB in Birmingham.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, but there's a first for everything.
Well, we beat their football team this week.
Yeah, we sure did, in a big-time way. And you know how we speculated last week that their head coach might be fired if UAB lost to FAU? Well, guess what happened?
What happened?
Fired. Trent Dilfer got let go.
I don't know how to take that. I mean,
no, you shouldn't feel good about it.
No,
but
who shouldn't feel good?
Well, us.
Okay, well,
I don't feel good about it, but it also means that I was right, which does inherently make me feel good.
You were right. We'll give you your flowers.
Yeah.
But the reason why I say I don't know how to feel about that is because you lose the FAU and you get fired as if you're not supposed to lose to them.
Well, I think
you see what I'm saying.
Yeah, it sucks for us. It makes us feel bad. But yes, from an outsider's perspective and from a UAB perspective, probably. So that's true. So Northwestern beat Penn State. And a guy who was in the college football semifinal a year ago gets ousted in James Franklin. And Penn State, though, has the money to spend $50 million to buy out his contract. Say
goodbye.
Thanks for 9 years of stability with a program that a couple of years before probably should have gotten the death penalty. See you later, James.
You think he cares?
I know I wouldn't getting $50 million. I mean, his ego is hurt, but his checkbook is great.
I don't even think his ego is hurt with $50 million on the way out.
I have seen UAB fans trying to court James Franklin as their next head football coach. Well, the timing is interesting.
That might be a good hire.
The timing is very, very interesting. All right. So FAU beats UAB 53-33. We go through position individual awards every single week to kick things off here on the Florida Atlantic Voice. And we're going to start with the Behind the Line Award. Daniel Parr, Malcolm Davidson, Behind the Line Award. Daniel Parr only started a couple of games in his FAU career. He was the starting quarterback to kick off the Lane Kiffin era. He will forever have the longest touchdown pass in FAU history, 99 yards to Willie Wright in the Lane Kiffin debut in 2017. The Behind the Line Award, Caden Shields Dutton, FAU running back. He is the third string running back for FAU, but Jamari Sands, the starter, limited because of injury. Xavier Terrell, the backup running back, out due to injury. So Caden Shields Dutton, what did he do? He scored 3 touchdowns in this game against UAB, 77 yards on the ground, a steadying presence, and suddenly you feel like you have some depth to work with there at the running back position. FAU still struggling to run the ball, but 147 yards on the ground total. Zach Kitley wants more, but that'll do. And FAU ran for nearly 5 yards a carry. That's pretty solid football right there. Darian Williams Tight End Award. Michael Kirch and Martavius Collins both get it. Neither of them had a catch, but on the second touchdown run for Caden Shields Dutton, they were both in the game, lined up on the left side, 2 tight ends set, and they both threw the blocks that open up the hole for Caden Shields Dutton from just a couple of yards out. Jensen Stoshak, Wide Receiver Award. Assad Wasim, 7 catches, 105 yards, and a touchdown. There's a reason that Coach Prime wanted him at Colorado. Things didn't work out last year for him, but this guy is taking the top off of defenses. He is absolutely elite. This is the second straight week, by the way, that he wins the Wide Receiver Award. Antonio Woods, Offensive Line Award. Okino King, he filled in for the injured Alex Atcavage. The O-line kept Caden Veltkamp clean, no sacks. And again, 147 rushing yards. You got to hang your hat on the offensive line performance for that. The Evan Anderson Defensive Line Award, CJ Doggett, 2 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss, and was the 4th leading tackler for FAU. Randall Johnson Linebacker Award, Tyler Stolsky, the Minnesota product, captain, 14 tackles. He's had his best 2 games of the year back-to-back, and I think that's concurrent with the fact that he's lost that gigantic, cumbersome plaster club he was wearing on his left hand all season long. It's amazing what happens when your digits are showing and you can actually grip.
Have all your limbs.
Have all your limbs intact, exactly.
It's a wonder.
And I feel like you could have your 4 fingers and you'd still struggle because we all know that the thumb is what sets humans apart from every other mammal on this planet. The thumb is the most important finger on the human body. It's my opinion, but also it's fact.
Hey, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah. The thumb matters. That's all I'm saying.
The thumb matters.
Yeah. Save the thumb. Sherrod Niesman.
I want mine.
Honest. So I'm not wishing this upon myself.
Okay.
But if I were to lose a finger in some sort of accident,
wow,
I would probably be okay with, we don't have to, like.
Which one?
We don't necessarily, say it's like my ring finger.
That's the one to take.
I wouldn't be torn up if the doctor's like, Ken, we can't do anything for you. It's been sitting in grass for too long in the heat. All right, fine. Whatever. And I don't know if that's like the determining factor if your finger spoils if it's sitting in the heat too long. But if my thumb, if my thumb gets ripped off, then I want the doctor to perform every single medical piece of knowledge that he knows to try and get the nerves to connect and get me use of that thumb.
You've thought about this.
A lot, actually. An awful lot.
Well, I must tell you.
I don't have a full-time job. I have a lot of time on my hands.
You're going to look crazy regardless which finger they take. It's going to look odd. And I'm not, talking down to anyone who's, unfortunately lost a
But you
finger
adapt.
or something.
You adapt.
Yes, you adapt. So you think it's better to adapt without
a ring finger? Absolutely, 100%. 100%.
Wow.
It's like a dog. Like if they have, you see dogs, they're missing a leg and they walk just fine because they adapt.
That should be a question we should ask our listeners and viewers. Which finger you had to lose?
Yeah, good call. Which finger? Jump in the chat. Which finger would you prefer to lose if you had to lose a finger? Which finger is the one that's easiest to overcome?
I wonder how many married people are going to say the ring finger. Unhappily married people.
Well, you still have another ring finger. So there's no excuse,
that's
right?
True.
Sherrod Neesman Defensive Back Award. Jaden Sweeney, he had a pass breakup, nearly had an interception in traffic in the first half. Played well with limited action for the injured Chris Keys. We're going to get to this. FAU still doesn't have an interception on the season, and FAU has played 6 games. It's not ideal. And we're going to talk about why it's not ideal when we look at the USF game upcoming as well. And then we have the Matthew Hayball Special Teams Award. Easton Messer, 2 punt returns, 31 yards and 22 yards. Those returns set up FAU on a short field. FAU scored touchdowns on both. Easton Messer, and again, this is a precursor to what we're going to talk about with him. That's the guy you wanted to win the wide receiver award last week.
Yes.
He is quickly turning into not just FAU's most important player, but one of the best players in the entire country.
He's
statistically, Easton Messer. He 100% is. The James Franklin thing this week was wild for me. Again, you have a guy who is in the college football semifinal last year, came a play away, a poor quarterback decision away from going to play for a national championship in college football. Drew Aller made a bad mistake at the end of that game, and now James Franklin's out of a job. James Franklin got fired the same day Trent Dilfer did at UAB. How is that conceivably possible?
Well, James Franklin was on borrowed time for about 3 years now. So I don't want anyone to lose their job. I'm not clapping my hands because they do it. However,
but borrowed time because he couldn't beat a top 10 team.
But that's what you're there to do, is to beat a top 10 team. You're not there to come in 4th in the Big Ten.
Okay, you're right. That's accurate.
Okay, so based on the criteria for that job, he failed miserably, and he's been failing.
So I look at this, though, and there's a lot in college sports of the grass not being greener on the other side.
Okay.
Like Arkansas hasn't been the same since Brett Bielema was fired. They still haven't been able to come back and really compete for any sort of anything notable.
Now, who was first, Bielema or
Petrino was first. Petrino was first,
okay.
And then he had the motorcycle accident, and his mistress was on the motorcycle. Yeah, he came first. He's the reason that Brett Bielema.
He's back though now, coaching them.
He is. He's the interim. I would bet you $400.
They're going to make him the coach.
That Bobby Petrino will become the full-time head coach at Arkansas. I can almost guarantee you that's going to happen. Almost guarantee you that's going to happen.
It's amazing why institutions, and I guess I get it initially, but you're so quick to fire just to try to create a storm, a media negative storm, but then just knowing wholeheartedly, hey, 2 or 3 years, we'll bring you back.
Here's what's happening, though, too. James Franklin fell victim. If this was still the non-NIL era, if this was the non-portal era, James Franklin would still have a job. He'd follow the Kirk Ferentz path at Iowa. He'd be there forever. People would have patience with him. But when in the NIL era, when you have a team that can't get over the hump and win a championship, there's more urgency to make a move because of how much turnover rosters have year to year to year.
Do you think that most of his James Franklin firing is because of the NIL or the fact that you can't beat a top 10 team?
Well,
even before the NIL.
A lot of that, because the NIL, Penn State feels fine about the NIL money they're putting in, but they want to maximize the NIL money, and the NIL money has not been maximized. And part of it is the boosters turned on James Franklin after he lost at home to Oregon, and then he lost to UCLA, and then he lost to Northwestern. Like, that stuff piles up. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have been let go, but what I'm saying is he would still have a job if this was a decade ago.
Well, it sounds as if the athletic department is saying, okay, Coach Franklin, it's okay to lose to Michigan
and Ohio State. And you do every year.
Every year.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But don't lose to Northwestern.
Right.
Now, I know Northwestern's had some good years, and I know we have some Northwestern alumni in here, so forgive me for what I'm saying. But is it because you lost to Northwestern? Who are we to lose to?
Well, no,
Northwestern has been in Big Ten championships,
right?
Maybe almost as many times as Penn State has been in the last 10 years.
They have lost back-to-back games against teams they were 20-point or more favorites against. That's never happened before in major with a ranked team like that. A team that started the season top 5.
I feel like everybody, the media, really wants Penn State to be good every year.
Well, you're speaking as an Ohio State fan, so you're also compromised here.
Well, actually, I'm not, because we don't fear, as an Ohio State fan, we don't fear Penn State.
Yeah.
I mean, there are no.
Well, that's why they're making a coaching change. That's why the coaching change. But the reason I bring that up, because UAB fans brought this up pretty consistently. Oh, well, FAU made a move on Tom Herman. How come UAB doesn't make a move on Trent Dilfer? They were hired at the same time. They would have been the same number of years in. I mean, Brian White made the decision that it wasn't working out after a year and a half with Tom Herman, and he pulled the plug. But that also is rare. Like, that's the exception, not the rule. Now we're seeing Zach Kidley's offense is exciting. It's good, but Brian White took a chance, and it looks like, at least so far, it's paying dividends. And the alternative maybe would have been, and I like Tom Herman a lot. I absolutely do. So I'm not trying to disparage him.
Did you like him as a football coach or just as a, like?
Well, both. I had a good relationship with him, and I mean, he obviously had a lot of acumen. But you also could have been in the situation that UAB finds itself in with a third straight lost season. Trent Dilfer lost all 15 games away from Birmingham that he coached in his tenure at UAB. Okay?
It sounds like they need a chaperone.
They are going to have the longest consecutive days between road wins in the history of the program, surpassing when the program was killed, when the program didn't exist about 6 years ago, okay?
Well, I must tell you, just getting back to the Penn State thing, I believe that Ohio State, I think it's not – Penn State, it was sabotage. You know why? They get Ohio State's defensive coordinator, who had the number 1 defense at Ohio State, comes over there.
It was an inside job.
It was an inside job. Now watch, he's going to go back to Ohio State next year.
Florida Atlantic Voice, presented by Robes Law Group, ROBES, robeslawgroup.com. Personal injury lawyers. And again, download the Robes Law Group app, the Robes Shield. And there's a lot of benefit to this app, but maybe most notably, you get in an accident and they have everything right there in the app. You open the app, they have phone numbers, they have all the information you need. They have a questionnaire so you can, while your mind is fresh, because your adrenaline's high after an accident. It's hard to think clearly. It's hard to remember. Your memory gets affected. And so they have all of these questionnaires, or have a questionnaire where you can, as recent as possible, document what happened. Store your picture so that you have it there for lawyer, you have it there for insurance. It is absolutely phenomenal. Robes Law Group, ROBES, robeslawgroup.com. Download the app, the Robes Shield. So again, the Daniel Parr, Malcolm Davidson Behind the Line Award. Congratulations to Caden Shields Dutton, running back. The Darian Williams Tight End Award. Michael Kurtz, Martavius Collins Sherritt. And that's fine. We just cut it in half. Jensen Stoshak Wide Receiver Award, Assad Wasim. Antonio Woods Offensive Line Award, Okino King. The Evan Anderson Defensive Line Award, CJ Doggett. Randall Johnson Linebacker Award, Tyler Stolsky. Sherrod Niesman Defensive Back Award, Jaden Sweeney. And the Matt Hayball Special Teams Award, Easton Messer. FAU has USF on Saturday. You know how I feel about USF.
How do you feel about USF?
I'm sick and tired of them begging the Big Ten to come get them. USF is so delusional what happens there. And I understand they're frustrated because they've been in the same conference for decades at this point, and they watched UCF go into the Big 12. But this fan base thinks that it's Big Ten worthy when this fan base has a football team that 5 years ago won a single game, that has not surpassed 6 games since Willie Taggart was the head coach at USF. Actually, that's not true. They, in 2017, won. That was the last time, though, that they won over 6 games in a season.
So you want USF to have no aspirations at all to go?
No, they should have aspirations, but
where do you think?
But don't be delusional. FAU has aspirations. USF has aspirations. USF thinks that it's Big Ten caliber. That's insane. They have great facilities, don't get me wrong, and they're about to have an on-campus stadium, but USF is not Big Ten worthy. I'm sorry, it's not happening.
So what's the next step for them as an institution?
Could you imagine USF basketball trying to compete in the Big Ten? My goodness, man.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they said the same thing about Rutgers at some point.
Well, Rutgers also hasn't. Rutgers has a more rich basketball history than USF does. USF has had one good year in 20 years.
That's true.
So USF drives me crazy because they act as if it's beneath them for Florida Atlantic to be in the same conference, even though 2 years ago FAU marched in on homecoming to Raymond James Stadium and slapped them around and embarrassed them in front of their home fans and embarrassed Alex Golish. Now, they came to Boca last year and a backup quarterback had a big second half against FAU, and this is going to be a tall task. USF is ranked number 19 in the country now going into this one, but the delusion that comes out of USF, comes out of that campus, comes out of the fan base drives me insane.
It's to be expected, though. You know, that side of the coast is always, it's that is the East Coast, West Coast rivalry here.
Yeah.
When it comes to Florida sports, and you should be expecting that.
But again, it just stopped. And it's getting to a point with USF where they're saying, no, we don't want the ACC. We don't want the Big 12. We want the Big 10. Who do you think you are? Again, a handful of years ago, you won one game in football. Okay, one game, 1-11. Okay? But FAU, this is going to be a tough task.
Yeah, it is. This is one of those games that everything's going to have to, I'm not going to say go right, but they're going to have to come into this game and keep the game at a point where they feel like they can win.
Yeah.
And I believe that we can win belief is going to come through what the coach is preaching to the players.
Yeah.
And the strategy on how they're going to win.
Right.
Don't try to out-punch a puncher. Okay, so you got to have a strategy to know that this is how we're going to go in there and win and have the team buy into this, to whatever the concept is and the game plan is moving to this Saturday.
So, by the way, as of today, Florida Atlantic has the 4th best passing offense in the entire sport. The number 4 pass offense in the country belongs to Florida Atlantic. Now, this might surprise you. USF comes in at number 122 in the nation in pass defense. That's the number 19 team in the country. They are bottom 15 in the country in pass defense, going against number 4 through the air. So, believe it or not, advantage FAU in that spot.
No, I really expect FAU to, whatever their game plan is to spread them out and throw the ball around.
And it has to be. But you also need to run the ball at some point.
Timely runs.
USF has the number 46 rush defense in all of college football. FAU has the 106th best rushing offense. So that something needs to give there. FAU has to find a way to get itself, I would think, up over 160, 165 yards on the ground to alleviate some of the pressure on the passing offense and give itself a chance in this game. If FAU is going to have a chance in this game.
The way college football is now, you don't necessarily have to have a 100-yard rusher. So it's more or less timely runs.
Yep.
Okay, so they have to
chunk runs.
Chunk big plays out of the run game. I'm not so much concerned with how many yards they have overall on the ground. I'm concerned with, in those timely runs, the play calling. Did it hit when you called the run play? And that, to me, that's what you need to win these kind of games and to create an upset going into their stadium.
Chris jumps in the chat. Chris Bartels, FAU football legend, says forced turnovers, eliminate the QB run game, solid special teams. It's almost as if Chris Bartels reading my mind. Now, forced turnovers, that's a huge problem. for FAU.
As far as the interceptions are concerned.
Florida Atlantic has not grabbed an interception all season long. None through 6 games. I have never experienced that before as the play-by-play voice of FAU. It gets worse, though.
Worse?
If you're an FAU fan.
Not worse.
Florida Atlantic, when it comes to turnover margin on the season, minus 11. That's tied for last in the country. They're minus 11 turnover margin. There's only 4 teams, including FAU, that have double-digit negatives in turnover margin. And there's only 2 of those teams at 500 on the year, FAU and New Mexico. So that's not sustainable. Right. FAU should feel fortunate right now that it is at 500, that is above 500 in league play, and they've done it at minus 11 in turnover margin, but that is going to come back. And I think it came back to hurt them against Memphis, and it's going to come back to hurt you down the road if you cannot chip into that at some point.
No, you're exactly right. They've got to button up a lot of these areas and these statistics. They need to play better than what a statistic is showing they're not good at.
Yep.
And that's how you go into hostile territory and create these upsets. You got to play a certain kind of way that statistically the team doesn't expect you to be.
Right. And then Chris mentioned stop the QB run. Byron Brown, their quarterback, is their leading rusher. Their leading rusher. He has 50 more attempts than the starting running back. He has 50 more rushing attempts than the starting running back. You don't see that very often at all. So Byron Brown, USF's leading rusher, 5 rushing touchdowns on the year, and they're starting running back Sam Franklin. Because Byron Brown attracts so much attention from the defense, he's averaging over 7 yards per carry. So going up against this USF rushing attack, that is really, it's not a great matchup for FAU.
No, it kind of attacks our weakness,
and
our defensive weakness, but collectively, that's why I believe now is going to be a time, win or lose, we should see a lot of coaching from the FAU side on how to attack, and also too to see how the players are responding to that coaching to give yourselves a chance to win. Because you can't just go, I don't care what anybody says, you can't, when you're playing these David and Goliath, so to speak, and I'm not suggesting that they're Goliath, South Florida.
Well, they're number 19 in the nation, so you can go ahead and make that claim.
So for argument's sake, a Goliath, you can't go in there and line up and say, we're going to play the way we've been playing. We just, no.
Right.
You can't do that. Well, you got to find a strategy of getting them. You've got to, everybody bleeds. You gotta find a way to spy Byron Brown. You've got to contain Byron Brown. Now, FAU does have a history, or at least they had a blueprint on how to shut him down. Byron Brown did not do anything against FAU 2 years ago at Raymond James. So there is a blueprint there. He's been stopped before, but he is just so dynamic. USF, the 24th best rushing offense in the country. FAU's rush defense, 100th. Hey,
again, it's a bad matchup.
No, it's a bad matchup, but that's why you play the game, though.
Yep.
And I know the coaching staff and in every room is going in there saying, you got to play the game. You got to play the game. And they're pulling up the first games of the season. They're pulling up all the successful plays that they had throughout the season and saying that we just got to sustain this level of play.
Yep.
We went to Maryland. We got to sustain this level of play. We can't have these disappearing quarters.
Yep.
Which, yet again, if you look at it against UAB, they only scored 7 points. Florida Atlantic in the 7th quarter, which has been a trend fading as the game goes. You can't do that.
But FAU did deliver a death quarter for the first time. They outscored UAB 21-0. So that if FAU goes up 21-0 in the first quarter against USF, I may pass out. I may not survive into the second quarter. I may have to tag you in.
So what, you want to call the game, pray for rain? Go to 21-0?
Oh, man, yeah, game's over. Stop the count. So Chris also mentioned special teams. FAU has played very solid special teams. And let me give you a little bit of an indication of how good FAU has been.
Okay.
Florida Atlantic is 12th in the nation in punt return yards. FAU special teams has done the job. Again, 12th in the nation in punt return yards. A big part of that is Easton Messer. Easton Messer is 40th in the nation in all-purpose yards. both his receiving yards
and his return
and his passing yards now after his 48 yard. Easton Messer threw the best halfback pass I've ever seen in my entire life in the win over UAB. And he took a shot to the head. The guy who hit him while he was throwing was ejected due to targeting.
Right.
It's the best halfback pass in the history of football. I am okay declaring that. It was absolutely exceptional what Easton Messer did. But Easton Messer, 40th in the nation in all-purpose. Guess who the kick returner is? Jay Sean Platt. He's 18th in the nation in all-purpose yards because they rack up yards on kick return and punt return. FAU has an advantage when it comes to special teams.
So what you're saying is we should have good field position.
Well, conceivably, yes.
Yes.
Conceivably.
If our special teams hits his averages, okay, we should be set up pretty well to have scoring drives.
And by the way, FAU 12th in the nation in punt return yards, USF 115th in the nation in punt return yards. So there's another advantage FAU in that spot.
Well, let's see if we can pop one.
Yeah, it's about time. It's about time. Both Messer and Platt have come close to busting one. So, yeah, it is definitely about time. And then there's the turnovers. Just going back to that real quick. USF will give the ball away. They've lost 5 fumbles this year. And Byron Brown has also thrown his fair share of picks this season as well. He has 18 total touchdowns, but he's been a little bit loose. He's been gifting the other team the football. You have to take advantage of that, though. Have to.
Well, hopefully we can take that 0 out the column on picks if he gives us.
I mean, just gives us one. Have to. Absolutely have to.
In these games, you got to get turnovers and short fields.
Yep.
It's very important to get a turnover and a short field.
So those are your keys. FAU, USF. I will say this about USF. While the fan base drives me crazy, I'm going to miss Raymond James as their home football stadium.
It's a nice setup for you, huh?
That press box.
I knew it.
I mean, it's an NFL press box, so it's awesome. Can I tell you a little story about an experience outside of FAU, though, that I had at Raymond James?
Go ahead.
All right. So the year is 2007. Okay. 2007, okay? I've just moved from Madison, Wisconsin to South Florida. I haven't even taken the FAU play-by-play job yet at this point. One of my first ever assignments with the job I took coming down here was to finish off my role as Wisconsin Badgers football beat reporter, which I had in the year that I worked in Madison. Okay. They were playing in the Outback Bowl at Raymond James Stadium against Tennessee.
Okay.
Brett Bielema, this was before Bielema then eventually turned Wisconsin into a Big Ten champ, right before, like on the cusp of it.
Okay.
So they were good. They were very good. The Outback Bowl for assembled media, and you've been around it now for a while, and this is not me, and you will attest to this. I am not said media member that lives for free food in the press box.
I am.
Okay. Well, you are.
I am.
I try to avoid it. But largely, media members who work in sports, it's to get a paycheck, to be employed, and then to eat free food in the press box. Those are the priorities for them. And sometimes food in the press box is the number one priority, okay? So because it's the Outback Bowl, the press box is catered with Outback food. So you've got your steak, you've got the delicious sides at Outback. And Outback, if you want to spend money with us, pay us to talk about you like this, you're more than welcome. You can just get a hold of me on Twitter at KLVSays. At halftime, every single media member got their own personal Bloomin' Onion. Every media member got their own Bloomin' Onion. And so I look around. I'm not a huge fan of Bloomin' Onions because I'm not an onion guy.
Okay.
And it's a little fried, and but a lot of people love Bloomin' Onions. I look to my right, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm not making this up for shock value. I'm not trying to get a cheap chuckle out of this. I look to my right, and there is a newspaper writer from Knoxville, Tennessee, who, as the Bloomin' Onion is placed in front of him, wipes a tear from his eye. Quite literally brought to tears, emotion over a free individual Bloomin' Onion. And I don't know if it was, this is the culmination of my career, this is the peak, it's never going to get any better, or maybe he was just having a bad week, and it also was January 1st, so maybe he had a bad year in 2006. I don't know.
You was wondering where you've gotten yourself into.
But he literally cried.
Over the blooming onion.
Now, this brings me to another story. I thought that was a one-off, what I was going to experience.
Okay, there's more?
Oh, there's more. Do you remember when Florida State played Northern Illinois in the Orange Bowl down here?
Yes.
Okay. It was E.J. Manuel, I think, was the Florida State quarterback. This was his senior year.
Okay.
So before the game, the Orange Bowl has a pretty nice spread for assembled media, which, again, is free. Okay?
Well, just by the way, let's just plug in for the listeners and everybody and just try to stress how good the food is.
Oh man, they've got
my goodness.
They've got pastas. They've got and it was one of those stands where you get a pasta and then they have the sauce and they'll mix it together. Like but then they've got assorted meats. They had everything. I mean, it's the Orange Bowl. They spare no expense. It's an NFL stadium, Hard Rock Stadium. It was superb. But a South Florida-based reporter, who will remain nameless. Other than he covers hockey in South Florida. He got the college football beat that night.
Okay.
He goes up, you know how they have the like metal catering containers that you open up. He goes up to the chef trays. He goes up to the steak chef tray. He opens it. There's no steak. He goes, "Where the is the steak? Where is the goddamn steak?" And freaked out, started screaming and yelling, and everybody's looking at him. Where's the goddamn steak? I've never, ever seen that level of anger before since Tony Sperano swore at me after the Tebow game when I asked him if he's talked to the owner yet.
But you know,
may Tony Sperano rest in peace.
You know just as well as I do, the rumor gets around what they have in the hospitality room. Oh, they got this in it. It circulates. So if you're expecting steak and you get up from wherever you are expecting steak and it's gone.
What I'll say, though, media gets too comfortable.
Oh, yes.
Media gets way too comfortable, okay? By the way, Marching Fish on Twitter sent me, speaking of free food.
Okay.
Speaking of free food, the tailgate. I mean, it looks like we got, look at the ribs. I mean, that's just mountains and mountains of ribs. That's like Himalaya.
Oh, wow.
Like there's Mount Everest. There's K2 right there. Like that is a mountain range of ribs right there.
We got to get that tailgate for basketball.
Well, he does do it for basketball.
Oh, my goodness.
And softball.
I'm there.
Baseball. Hey,
let me know where that is.
You need to, and I'll give you a hint. He's in attendance here tonight, so you might want to talk to him before. They leave. Okay.
That was amazing.
So I needed to get that off my chest though, because media members get too comfortable. They want free food all the time, and that's why I do not consider myself media. I am on the inside. I call the games. I am not there for the free food.
I am in that media room eating.
Damon Arnett is in there for the free food.
Free food.
Florida Atlantic Voice presented by Robes Law Group. Personal injury lawyers, ROBES, robeslawgroup.com, based out of Delray Beach. And we appreciate everybody at Beer Garden and Boca Raton for coming out here Monday Night Live. Beer Garden and Boca Raton, 6 o'clock. We're here during the football season, Monday Night Live, every single Monday with Damon Arnett. I am Ken Levicka. And on Mondays, $3 brats and also first drink on me. You've got playoff baseball on right now. You're going to have Monday Night Football on. You've got 2 Monday Night Football games, again, which I wish they'd stop doing because, well, I can only focus on one Monday Night Football game. I'm very no. What they're doing, one starts at 7:15 and one starts at 7:30 because there's a lot of people like us who fall asleep by the time, and it's always the Raiders. By the time the Raiders kick off in the late Monday night game, but tonight it is 2 almost concurrent Monday night games. By the way, for the record, if you're watching live, this is going to make no sense when the podcast is posted a couple of days from now.
Right.
The Mariners are on top of the Blue Jays 6-3 in the 5th, looking to go up 2-0 in the ALCS. Are you a baseball fan at all?
Only in the playoffs.
Okay, that's fine. I think there's a lot like you. Yeah. Just like hockey. There's a lot of playoff hockey fans.
No, I'm not with the hockey. I don't care. I wouldn't watch a game 7 in hockey.
Man,
that puck going around. I know I can't be the only one who cannot follow the damn thing. I'm sorry. I see a lot of people skating. I see the sticks moving, and I see the action going from one side to the next, but I have no idea.
All right.
Well, I'm always late on scores.
Hopefully this doesn't get back to FAU basketball fan and Florida Panthers 2-time Stanley Cup champion, the captain, Sasha Barkov. Hopefully, who has been at FAU games each of the last 2 years. So we may have to go up to him and bring that up.
Oh, well, I'll go to a hockey game, I guess, now, since you mentioned it like that.
Okay.
Maybe he can come teach me how to follow the puck then.
Fox used to have a little glowing when the NHL was on Fox. They used to have a glowing puck,
and it followed.
Yeah, it followed the puck.
It had like a tail on it.
Yeah. Yes.
They need to bring that back.
You're all in on that. All right.
Yes, because I can't follow it for the life of me.
Let's talk some FAU basketball for a second here.
Okay.
On November 3rd, by the way, Damon and I will be on the Florida Atlantic Sports Network, calling FAU and Boston College to start the season. So John Jacobs, year number 2, media days in Birmingham today. Cannon Carlisle, he was in attendance, as was Nico Moretti. Let's just start with Nico because he's one of the few returners. You have Max Langenfeld, impact players. Max Langenfeld, we anticipate, is going to be an impact player.
Now, when we talk about this, you got to classify the returners. Okay, they're returning, like Nico's a returner.
Yeah.
Because he actually played. He was a piece of the team.
Right, that's what I'm saying, like impact returners.
Okay, impact.
But Max Langenfeld, we're anticipating is going to be an impact returner. It was injuries that kept him from being an impact player a year ago.
But he ain't returned to the games. He's not a returner to the games because he was out for injury.
You're right.
So we don't know what we're getting with Max.
We suspect based on what we've seen in practice. Yes.
Exactly. Now, we expect him to be a big contributor.
Yeah.
And that would have been time well spent last year, getting himself 100% healthy.
Yep.
To have a breakout season this year.
But you've also got Devin Vanterpool and then Nico Moretti. Like, those are the 3. From the players who started the most games last year, none of them are back. Not a single one is back this year, okay? Whether it was graduation or transfer, mostly transfer.
Such as college basketball. For all the listeners that think that what's wrong with FAU, absolutely nothing.
Yep.
This is just the state of college basketball. To retain your players, I think is a foregone. It's something to be expected no matter what team you're with, not to have your entire team back every year.
So I think that there are a lot of FAU fans that were paying attention to media days who were wondering to themselves, who is Cannon Carlisle? And that's a good question. You'll get to know Cannon Carlisle. He is really, really talented. He was a star coming out of high school, went to Stanford, where he showed some really good flashes at Stanford. Ended up transferring to Indiana, and it just didn't work out well for him. He averaged just over 4 points per game. We know last year at Indiana was not good, and Mike Woodson gets let go.
There was a whole program issue there.
Yeah, for sure. So it was not an environment to succeed if you're someone that's a relative newcomer as well, like Cannon Carlisle. So Cannon Carlisle comes to FAU. John Jacobs recruited Cannon Carlisle out of high school to go to Baylor. So there was already a relationship, though. Cannon Carlisle was also seriously considering UAB, and he chose FAU over UAB. So that's a win for John Jacobs in that spot. So Cannon Carlisle is a volume scorer. He can be streaky. There have been plenty of streaky. I mean, I would call Elijah Martin a streaky shooter, right? In your opinion?
Yes. Yeah. No, you're right. Everybody's
And I'm not comparing Cannon Carlisle to Elijah Martin. I'm just saying streaky shooters can help you.
Everybody's streaky. Even Steph Curry is streaky. Because there'll be a period of time where he can't miss.
Yep.
There'll be a period of time where he's going 6 for 8.
Yep.
Okay, so every shooter can be streaky. It's just how often do those streaks occur that determines the word.
And when do those streaks
occur? So that's soon going to be told. We're soon going to see with Cannon which type of streakiness he has.
I think that it's safe to say, though, he is going to be an integral part of FAU's chances at success.
Oh, no.
I don't think there's any doubt.
I think everybody that Coach Jenkins has brought in this year from watching them practice, he's brought in players more. Because remember, last year he didn't have the time to recruit his players.
Right.
And I think this is a more impactful recruiting class this year because as the first-time head coach, Coach Jenkins has gone through his first season. Even for him as a coach and as a coaching staff, he's learned what works and what's not going to work based on his philosophy. And whatever tweaks that he may think needs to be necessary, he's brought players in now to be able to make those adjustments based on his tweaks.
Then there's Nico Moretti, who, unless something shocking happens, is going to be penned in as the starting point guard for FAU. Had his first true full season of experience last year. He did not get that at Illinois. He was injured the previous season. So really, this was his first full season of basketball in about 3 years, what he had at FAU last year. And he showed times where he could get to the rim. He was really savvy. He's got good vision, probably tried too much at times to force the tempo for FAU or make a pass where his degree of difficulty, he should have probably made a different decision. What was your main critique of Nico Moretti a season ago?
Well, he was sort of one-dimensional with his play, with his offense. And I think, but I can't be too critical because the team and the chemistry at times had issues. Okay, so some of those times that he was one-dimensional may have been he was forced into those kind of situations.
Sure.
So I'm not going to be overly critical with him in terms of that, but he was one-dimensional at times in critical moments, and I believe that is a big difference in his game then and now. He's using both sides of the floor now that I've noticed.
He one of your main criticisms I remember is that he really generally was headed towards the left side of the floor. He's a lefty, and
every single time that he was looking to be aggressive with his game. But
because he's more comfortable with that left hand.
Exactly. And just looking back on it, shot clocks were down, the ball's in his hand. You're going to do what makes you feel comfortable. But looking at him in practice time, you can tell he's been
working
over the summer, working on his game. And I didn't notice that he was one side of the floor dominant as he was last year. Well, in the practices that I've seen.
And then there's Devin Vanterpool, and he is understandably so the fan favorite, I believe. He's going to be the next Trey Carroll in terms of fan favorite, and a lot of that is he is the lone remaining Dusty May player. He didn't play at all during the Final Four year or the year after, but the improvement he made throughout the course of last year, where he's seen almost no minutes, and then he'd see a spray of minutes, maybe hit a shot, and then he just wasn't consistent enough. But then the final 4 weeks of the season, John Jacobs was desperately looking for some consistent defense, and he unleashed Devin Vanterpool. And, man, he is one of the most balls-to-the-wall, aggressive, get-after-you defenders that I have seen. He reminds me defensively of Elijah Martin. On ball, move your feet, be disruptive. If he can get more of a score, he can hit the three. If he can become more of a scoring threat and he can maintain that level of defense and stay on the floor doing it, I mean, my God, the sky's the limit. And I think he would make a perfect this is just me. I don't know what the plan is for him, but he would make a perfect sixth man or bench infusion.
No, Devin definitely has taken big strides in his development.
I mean, you remember the game they lost in the conference tournament to Tulane? He was in the final 10 minutes of that game, maybe the best player.
Yes. No, he definitely showed what he can be. And I believe now Devin just needed confidence and opportunity. Okay. And he's going to get that this year. Okay. He's going to get that. He was in practice as we've seen him early on here. He was playing with confidence. And I even told Devin he needs to start taking some ownership because of everything you just said. He is the returning player. He is the longest tenured player here. And at some point in time, you got to start taking some ownership of that and have your game back that up and just go out there and play ball with a certain level of confidence that is going to allow you to meet your potential.
So Devin Vanterpool, there's going to be some expectation on him. There is no doubt about that. Florida Atlantic, then, you look at Maxime Logue. I've had a lot of FAU fans ask me about him. Big body, Oregon State. Someone that John Jacobs was already a little bit familiar with. Devin Williams, who comes to FAU. Another West Coast guy was at UCLA before he came here to Florida Atlantic. I think that Devin Williams on the wing. Listen, this is a 6'10" forward. Devin Williams can we know that this is a conference of wings. Can he bang around? We have to see. We saw Baba Miller adjust to it last season. Can Devin Williams adjust to it? That's going to be the biggest question, I think, with Devin Williams.
And I believe with Devin in this conference here, this conference play, the baskets that you can get inside show to be so critical throughout the course of the game because there's so much perimeter play that if you're able to own that paint, especially offensively, that really is a good ingredient in being a tough team to guard, because especially if you got shooters that are knocking it down. And that's something I've seen as well. Everybody can shoot the basketball with this team.
Yep.
And when I say shoot, you don't have a guy who can shoot that shooting like Trey Carroll. Trey last year, he had the ability to knock down the three.
Right. And he had great touch at the rim.
The guys that are coming in this year are not guys that can shoot. These guys are shooters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's a big difference. That is a big difference because on the scouting report, your closeout to the open three, it has to be
there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The player that I've heard the most excitement about during the course of camp to this point is Isaiah Elohim. A Sierra Canyon product that is a storied high school basketball program, was at USC, played in 18 games a year ago. He's a sophomore, 6'5", 215, so he's a brick wall. That'll translate. He is getting rave reviews for how he's come in and started to work.
He's got a great body.
Yes, he does.
And he knows how to use it. He has a great body.
And he's a hard-ass New York product,
yes.
man.
His body is not Elijah Martin-esque. It's not that big and wide, but it's very similar. The frame is the same.
Yeah, and he's smooth.
Yes.
He's very smooth.
But I'm going to tell you one player that I liked in watching them play is
Amar Amku.
Was Amar.
He didn't play. He redshirted last year, and he's put on a lot of weight.
He looks good out there.
He was pencil thin, and I tell you what, Zane in the strength and conditioning program has been very good for him this year.
I know it's just practice, and I know that
he
didn't. I don't know how much he really practiced last season, but he looked good. He's going to be a guy that, Lord willing, he stays healthy. He just adds depth to any and everything Coach Jacobs is going to try to do on both ends of the floor.
And then the last player that I want to talk about is the one that I think has the highest expectation just from pure name recognition standpoint and the rating that he had coming in. He's the highest rated high school recruit in the history of Florida Atlantic basketball, Josiah Parker. Parker, 6'7", 225, and he was one of the highest rated players to come out of his AAU team, his AAU club, which is one of the best in the country, overtime elite. Kenan Carlisle came from that as well. Nico Moretti made the comment today during media days that he's really come along during the summer. He can do everything. He'll score, he'll defend, he'll rebound, but he did say he's a little bit undisciplined. Like any true good point guard will say, he has a critique of someone he's going to be delivering the ball to. That's what point guards do. That's sort of their thing, right? So Josiah Parker, being a true freshman, it's not, I don't think Nico's picking on him. I think it's what any true freshman would go through is you just got to grow up a little bit.
Well, what's happening is that he's getting used to the transition.
Sure, and that's a real.
I know he played major high school ball. I don't even know if you consider that high school ball where he played at last year.
Yeah,
but
it's like semi-pro.
Exactly, but it's still different than college. Okay, and so he's still trying to. He did not have the talent on his team last year.
Yep.
Collectively, that he has on his team this year, and so he's trying to find his way. He's trying to find his place, and sometimes he may try to do too much, maybe what Nico might be referring to. He may be trying to do too much, and which leads Nico to say undisciplined in certain areas within the framework of what Jake.
But we've seen plenty of undisciplined players who figure it out. Yes. And even in their first season, can get it done.
He's going to figure it out. Trust me.
He's that good. I mean,
he's going to figure it out.
He is really, really good.
And he's coachable more than anything.
For sure. But again, he is an absolute load. He's the preseason freshman of the year in the American. Josiah Parker, 6'7", 225. They already named him the preseason freshman of the year. I did, before we wrap up, though, I wanted you to try and speak to this. When you have a true freshman coming in with a lot of pressure put on him already, and he's already got an accolade in his bio, how does John Jacobs handle that? Because I'm sure it could go two ways. There could be I'm that guy, or two, and I don't think there's going to be an I'm that guy anytime John Jacobs is the head coach. He'll squash that immediately. But then there's the other end of it, trying to do too much because you have that title now. You've won that award. How do you handle that?
Well, Coach Jacobs is going to have to. Well, hopefully you don't have to handle it, because hopefully Josiah comes in and sees his teammates and just his knowledge of the game.
Just trust the teammates.
Trust it, exactly.
They've got your back.
But yes, he is coming in with some pressure, and if it does start to get off the rails a little bit for Josiah in the areas that you just talked about for those reasons, he's got to buy in.
Yeah.
As all the players are going to have to do is buy in, but especially a freshman with this kind of hype coming in, he's got to buy in to understand that probably less is more.
Yes.
But especially on this team,
he's going to get his. He's going to get his, but it's okay to rely on your teammates to help you get yours.
Yes, and that's what he's going to have to do, unlike maybe what he's used to, because he's used to doing everything, carrying heavy lifting is what they call it.
Yeah.
So he's going to have an adjustment period, so to speak, to that if it becomes an issue. But I think Coach Jacobs and that coaching staff is coaching him emotionally and mentally to avoid that, to say, look, either you're going to fit in or you're going to fit out. And freshman of the year, you can honor that accolade without averaging 20 points. Okay. And so, which I don't think no one on this team is going to average 20 points, not because they don't have the ability,
right,
but because we're deep, which is a good problem to have for Coach Jacobs. But I fully expect Coach Jacobs to allow him to shine. Coach Jacobs, from what I know, you can attest to this, he doesn't stifle you.
No, not at all. He wants you to be free-flowing.
Yes, he wants you to be flowing. He's going to let you reach your potential.
And also, one of the theories with Kanan Carlisle, just going back to him for a second, he's not someone who thrives well in a slow-down offense, which you're going to get at Indiana and in the Big Ten overall.
No, he's
someone that is better suited for a baseline offense. John Jacobs preaches that. That's his thing. That's his identity. That's his brand, okay? Right. So that's why don't look at Kanan Carlisle's numbers and say, uh-oh. And I know just looking at some of the critiques of him, Kanan Carlisle, he might have peaked from a scoring standpoint his last year of high school, and then everybody caught up to him size-wise. I don't think so. Right. I think this guy can fly. I think this guy, when he's able to just work on the wings and show off his speed, he has long strides. That is going to be the key to success. In a perfect world, he's not settling for jumpers. He can hit jumpers, but in a perfect world, he's got straight line to the rim.
No, he is, and they have a lot of other players that are similar to him.
Right.
And everything that I noticed that I was impressed with when I was watching practice is every drive that was being made did not end with them shooting.
Yeah.
The dribble penetration ended with a kick-out pass.
Yeah.
Okay, and so they wasn't trying to finish for themselves. And so that just tells you about the unselfishness that a lot of these guys are bringing to Florida Atlantic basketball this year, and I'm excited to watch them.
And it's got to be better defensively. It just has to be better defensively. And John Jacobs has said multiple times, we think we have a better, deeper defensive team this year. One thing I wanted to bring up before we wrap here, just from a football standpoint, I don't know why I missed this. Going back to Easton Messer for a second, he is number one.
The wide receiver.
Your favorite wide receiver.
Okay.
He is number one in the country in catches per game.
How many?
Easton Messer is the top wide receiver in the country in catches per game. He averages just over 8.6 catches per game. He is a top target. He has come from Western Kentucky. He has performed as Zach Kitley thought he would. But, man, what a stud this guy is. Easton Messer leads the nation in receptions per game, and he's 21st in the nation in receiving yards per game. And as we pointed out earlier, he is 4th in all-purpose yards on the season, and his teammate Jay Sean Platt is in the top 20 in the nation in all-purpose yards. So even if Saturday is a loss to USF, just know there's a lot of promise here with FAU football, an awful lot of promise with FAU football. But this is going to be a tough 2-game stretch for FAU. At USF, number 19 in the country, and currently undefeated Navy the very next week. Both games on the road. So if you win one of them, you feel like, oh, yeah, we're going to a bowl game. If you win both of them, you say, oh, yeah, this could be a conference championship.
So if you lose both of them,
you're still fine.
Are you still going to the bowl game? Is it still in front of you?
These 2 games were the key. Right now, you've got 6 games to win 3. If you don't lose both of these games, you've got 4 wins to win 3.
If you drop these 2, you got to win out?
No, you get 4 games to win 3.
Okay.
So you have a 1-game cushion in that spot. And the back end is far and away the easiest part of your schedule there, other than going to Tulane.
Well, let's get this win at UCF.
Yeah. How about that? Let's just upset USF on their homecoming. How about that? I want to thank everybody.
Schedule us for homecoming?
Yeah, I know. That's another piece of disrespect too.
God.
I know.
You just keep throwing these jabs in there.
I know. It's very it's because I don't want you to say something you regret.
Who did we
here.
schedule on our homecoming?
Tulsa.
See?
Well, we put 63 on them a year ago. So I'm sure they expected it.
Okay.
All right. So that's a wrap for us here at Beer Garden in Boca Raton. Want to thank all the FAU fans for coming out. Want to thank you for being a part of it. Want to thank everybody who hit up the chat. Robes Law Group, personal injury lawyers, title partner of the Florida Atlantic Voice, and also Beer Garden in Boca Raton for having us every Monday night for Monday Night Live. Again, Beer Garden in Boca Raton, Monday nights, $3 brats, and your first drink is on me. Your first drink is on me. It is the Ken Levicka guarantee. Your first drink on me at Beer Garden in Boca Raton every single Monday night. For Damon Arnett, I'm Ken Levicka. We'll talk to you for the day after with Robbie LaStella Sunday, but then Damon and I back for Monday Night Live next Monday here at Beer Garden in Boca Raton. This has been the Florida Atlantic Voice presented by Robes Law Group. Bye-bye.